This is Mike, NoStressMike.com, and we're talking about the different classes and the people that we meet and how these different classes you're going to find in each person. You'll find they're different. It's not just one kind of class of person. They show a little mixture. A good example would be poor. I'll tell you, I've met so many nice poor people, and I've shared food with them. I've stayed with them. It's just, that's what I'm saying. Just because they're poor doesn't mean that they're in the poor class, because there's more to it than that. Here, let's talk about that a little bit more. Okay, well, the peasant. Well, let's see, we stopped. We did the smith and the warrior. Okay, the peasant. Okay, the peasant, they own little. They own little. They're a worker most of the time. They're was it 9 to 5 kind of stuff? That's they don't have a lot of stress in their life. They don't want stress. They only learn and do what they need to. They don't want to overdo it. This is what I was talking about, ambition. They really don't have all that much ambition. But that's just different people, different ways. No big deal. And their manners. There's no need for manners. They don't really. They socialize with others like themselves. Remember, I told you, but there's no ambition. There's no, let's get ahead or nothing like that. So, hey, they are what they are. And so that's why manners isn't a big thing. And I said uneducated. Now, this is what I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of college graduates that were uneducated. So you really have to learn what educated means. And I don't know, I think I made a video talking about that, but anyway, that's why there's a lot of people that had just a very little bit of schooling that are well educated. A lot of them own businesses, big businesses, so, well, even Bill Gates, dropped out of college. I think he did. I think he was one of them that dropped out of college, so what? Dropped out of college, so the education is a really misnomer. It says something, but it's really incorrect. Education, like it means something, but real education is not where you graduated from. I've made videos talking about that. But, so in other words, the peasants would be uneducated. And when I say uneducated, they don't have the ambition to learn more. They don't want to do more. They just want to do as they're told. That's a lot like college people. That's what they just do what they're told. That's what they're taught in college. See, so that's why I was talking about the being educated, and in their case, non-educated. And they're and I put on there no money. And yes, they don't have money. They live paycheck to paycheck, and I see a lot of this in different countries. There's the people want to say, "Well, I'm in the middle class," and so you got the upper middle and the lower class, and they look at it, well, they don't make any money. Well, now they got the poor people, so then that means they're poor like me. I'm in the middle class, I'm doing good like that, and really, they're making payments. They live in paycheck to paycheck. No, you're a peasant. You just you're trying to be a yuppie is what you're trying to do. You're trying to appear like you got more. I see a lot of people have cars. Remember I told you cars are very expensive here in China, and the upkeep and all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of people, not only here in Central America, Mexico, and all that have cars that they shouldn't have it. You can't afford it. You know what I mean? It's like me. I mean, I got a car. I can't afford it. You know, and I didn't even get my car until just before I left is when I got my new car. Normally I drive old junk cars. Those are what I can afford. And the reason I can afford it is because, like I say, I don't use it. It has, I just use it to get from point A to point B. And now it looks like I've got something with a new car. So, well, it's not new, brand new, but it's newer than the old junk I normally drive. So, but that's what I'm saying. People will tend to have more than they can afford. And what's really scary is people own homes that they can't even afford. You know, and this is a good example. A peasant is a good example. Modern day peasant, they're making payments on this stuff. And their goal in life is 30 years of mortgage payments. You know, that's their goal. They want to just keep making their payments, you know what I mean? But it's okay. That's the way some people are. That's what I'm looking for when I meet people. I want to know, are you that type of a person? You know what I mean? Because your life is already, you know, laid out for you, you know. So as a peasant, that's the way it's going to be. And that's what I'm looking for. And like I say, nothing wrong with it, but I just need to know what it is I'm dealing with. Okay, okay, poor, poor and or dependent. Yeah, I mean, you know, somebody is giving them money. You know, somebody is taking care of their payments. Somebody's taking care of them, and all this kind of stuff for whatever reason. You know, maybe they. For me, I can't see it, but because if I had a disability, I'm going to have to find some kind of a work I can do that I don't need that ability. I've always have some ability somewhere to make some money, you know, and even like my wife. Now, remember I mentioned she was a peasant, but like I say, she likes to cook, and she babysits. You know, I mean, this is what you know, so, hey, whatever floats your boat, you know, so, and then, okay, then we have, and the poor, like I say, dependent, they're poorly dressed, they have no money, and they're respectful. This is what I get really upset when, when the people are poor, then they do crimes. No. Don't even go that way. There are a lot of poor people in this world. And I've made videos talking about that 10%. Okay. The poor people aren't the criminals. Criminals are criminals. You know, there's poor criminals, there's rich criminals, there's all kinds of criminals. They come in different colors, they come in different cultures, you know, so don't blame poor on anything other than they just haven't been able to take advantage of the opportunities, if they've even had the opportunities. That's what makes the United States look so good. It looks like opportunity. People just don't realize when you come to the United States, yes, it's opportunity, but you have to take the steps. Legally enter, legally do all your stuff, and that's when you're going to find opportunity. If you don't do that, you're coming in and you're going to become a slave. That's what we're going for. The slave is polite, they're fit, poorly dressed, and on here I say no need for money, and that's because there's somebody taking care of them. And that's the old school slaves. But these illegals that come in the United States, they are really slave labor. They really are. And but And like I say, when they start getting sickly, well, now the corrupt United States government now is taking care of their slaves. That's why they're offering them all this stuff. That should not be. They should not be giving them all this care. And this way they won't be slaves, but that's what they are. But anyway, that's just my own personal thoughts. Okay, talking about the danger. When I see people make eye movements, in other words, I come up, when I meet somebody, and I make videos talking about how to meet people, stuff like that. You shake their hand, you look them in the eye, and stuff like that. Well, when they start looking all over them, you know, they're looking at everything, looking at your clothes, what do you have, they're looking at all this kind of stuff, there's something not right. And so that's kind of spooky. Alpha attitude. I mean, you just come in and you're joining the conversation, I just meet you, and you're trying to overpower us. You're trying to show us that you are male dominant. Not a good start. So, another thing is complaints. You know, well, nice to meet you. Boy, you know, it sure is hot in here. You know, or, you know, I wish they'd turn on the air conditioning. What's going on? You know, what does that have to do with this? You know what I mean? So that's, you know, this kind of spooks me. And then whines, you know, and I don't care if they're even whining about the weather. You know, it's been so hot. I don't know why it's so hot all the time. You know, are we ever going to get any relief on this heat? You know what I mean? You know, what are you whining for? If you're going to whine about that, you're going to whine about anything. So, you know, nothing good is going to be coming out of that. You come in and you say, okay, I'll tell you, I've had it with all races and all colors have come to me, and you know, well, there's, you know, they, you know, like Black Power. You know, remember in the old days, they used to go around, you know, black folk would go around going Black Power. In the military, we had the same thing in Vietnam. They would be doing that. Okay, that's not the way to influence others positive. And so that's what I mean when I say that's an extreme. But I say I've had the same thing here. I was riding with a guy on comments, and he was telling me about how great the Chinese culture is and all this kind of stuff, and you know, and at the same time trying to belittle whatever other people's cultures. You know, what? There's nothing wrong with being proud of who you are and where you come from, but when you start, you know, belittling other people, that's not a good thing. That's what he did. I had to dump him. I really liked. He'd come up with some good ideas, but like I say, he was just too nasty. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I was talking about. He asked odd questions. You know, I mean, why would you ask something like that? Or why would you even say something like that? I mean, these comments, why would you say stuff like that? It's not. All this shows that you don't have any class. Nothing good is going to come out. So that's why these are the things that I look for. And if you show this, I'm not going to waste my time thinking that we're going to have some kind of relationship down the road. Matter of fact, you're really putting a lot of walls between us. But anyway, I thought I would just share what my thoughts are when I first meet someone. This is Mike, NoStressMike.com.